Hello und willkommen to more Endzeit gaming for your life. Today I want to focus on a gaming company from my home country, Germany. They are called Shinen. You may guess it, it's a Japanese name, but they have their roots in the Amiga demo scene. So they know how to push graphics and sound to the max. Right now they are a third-party publisher for Nintendo, and their most famous games I think might be Fast Racing Neo and Fast RMX, the two closest things to a new F-Zero you may find out there. But that's not what I want to talk about now. In the early days, they were basically the German version of Way Forward. Meaning they did most of the time licensed games for kids, but they really put their heart and soul into it. Game boxes like this maybe look not appealing at first sight, but they may be a few really great 2D jump runs out there you may never heard of. And I can promise you they really play like a 16-bit game from Nintendo that never was there. So let's get into it, and this is the first time I try this in English, so please don't hate me too much. Almost all games I will show you today are for Nintendo handheld systems, because this is what Shin'en did in their old days. And we are starting with Game Boy Advance. Die Biene Maja, süßes Gold, or Maja the Bee, sweet gold. Just look at the flower field in the background. I mean, this is some kind of insane parallax scrolling. Only seeing in games like Playlancer or Radiant Silver Gun, but what the heck, we have here a game for children. I have around like 150 plus GBA games in my shelf, but to be honest, even games like Area of Sorrow, Wario 4, Metroid Zero Mission, Gunster Heroes Advanced or Drill Dozer don't look as good as Maja the Bee. To be precise, this is the second Maja game from Shinen. Don't worry, we will cover the first one a little bit later, but they have really outdone themselves here. And I don't mean this only by a technical viewpoint. The levels are connected through a Mario World-esque overworld. Maja has the same floaty jump as Yoshi in Yoshi's Island. Only difference is she has to collect these purple flowers to fill the honey jar to fly a little longer. I think that Shinen would have loved to make a real Mario or Yoshi game for Nintendo, but yeah, like they were back then a nobody from Germany, only released 2 games. It's mind-blowing to me how much passion they put into this game to make their own version of a Nintendo 2D platformer. Maja 2 has tons of different levels with different scenery, FX, secret exit like you see here, secret passage into secret passage like our Wario 2. And even if this game is of course made in Europe, it's nothing like your typical Euro platformer with maze-like level design. The levels are short, sweet and unique, with tons of secrets to discover. Controls are tight, spot on, nothing floaty like your average Amiga platformer. Using an apple as a platform, fighting against the wind, or solving a little puzzle with breakable pots in a cave, Maja keeps it always fresh. Everything feels so Japanese, like it reminds me a lot of what Capcom made with the Disney games, or yeah, like everything old school Nintendo. My only complaint that I have with Sweet Gold is it's a bit on the easy side. But good thing is that Shinen also included an arcade mode. So if you like me and love it to collect every of the red coins and stars in a game, this can be quite a nice challenge. If you are not from Germany or Japan, chances are slim that you ever heard of Maja the Bee. What's interesting is that Shinen and Maja share a same history. The anime was a German-Japanese co-production and was based on a famous German children's book. And Shinen is a game developer from Munich, Germany. They have a Japanese name and they love Japanese video games. So I think this combination is very fitting. Nowadays the term hidden gem is totally overused and don't mean much at all, but I think Maja has still earned this title. And it's still dirt cheap. Just before cutting this video I got another copy for under €2. Sweet Gold was only released in Europe, but most copies got to Germany, so my best bet to hunt it down would be search on it on eBay Deutschland. Let's move on to Shinen's first Maja game for the Game Boy Advance. Die Biene Maja, das große Abenteuer. Maja the Bee, the great adventure. Well, here's the problem. It's one of these cases when there is nothing wrong with a game, but the second one completely outshine the first one. The animation is as fluid as in the second game, and also the music is as great as, oh damn, I completely forgot to mention the music in the second game. Shinen has developed their own sound drivers, and it's one of the clearest sound you will hear on GBA. It's always a big fault of the system and really difficult to get some nice music out. Flip the Grasshopper is something like a save point, because the levels are a lot of bigger and have more like the maze-like level designs from other Euro platformers. Maja could also shoot some honey, but only to destroy spiderwebs or doors. She can kill enemies with it, and sadly she hasn't learned to fly or the Yoshi stomp. I know, it's a little bit harsh to judge a game on its predecessor, but yeah, if you know both games, the first one just don't feel as polished as the second. I know, it may be a little harsh to judge a game on its successor, but Sweet Honey feels a lot more polished than Great Adventure. Strangely, Great Adventure got also an American release, so if you still can't get enough of Maja, you could have a little bit more fun here. Just as a warning, be careful. There was a third Maja game for GBA and also DS. but it wasn't developed by Shinen. Somehow Shinen outsourced the engine to some other German company. If you may see a screenshot of die Klatschmohnwiese in Gefahr, you might think, ah, this doesn't look so bad. Don't let it fool you. This is total garbage. Yeah, like the normal quality of licensed games you would expect. Like there are like enemies with 0 animations, and the other ones have like 2 frames animation like in one 8-bit game. And oh boy, the level design. I don't know if you call it design. One level takes about 10 minutes and it feels like 35. It's a complete boring mess. Just stay away from this game. This must be madness. A strawberry shortcake game? Really? Oh yes, really. We are moving from GBA to Nintendo's next handheld system, the DS. And history will repeat itself very fast. Just like Maja, there's no doubt for me that Strawberry Shortcake is one of the finest 2D platformers of the system. As you can see, Shin'en moved away from the 2D classical sprite-based graphics and got all 3D polygon, but it looks as well really good, and of course everything is 60 frames per second, and it's like a pink cotton candy rainbow dream. Maybe Shinen has took some another inspiration from a Nintendo game. As you see, the aiming system is almost the same as in Yoshi Island if you want to shoot some eggs, and the stomp attack is back. Only a little bit more elegant. Another feature is this seesaw thing where you have to make a momentum to pull yourself up, and as you see, you have to aim at the same time where you catch the momentum, and after that you have jump at the right time or you fall down and have do it all over again. And it's only the 3rd or 4th level of like 50. I shit you not, this game is like really hard. And again, you have a Mario World-esque world map, which is separated in the 4 seasons. Right now we are hopping from spring to summer, and in every season you have like new features that you can do with your bubbles, like shooting down here some apples, or completely new abilities like getting the snorkel and diving a little bit like Sonic-like underwater. One gameplay mechanic that makes Strawberry Shortcake not really easy is that you can't defeat enemies like at all. In Maja you could just jump on top, but here it's like there's no way. And they make like the jump run sequences so bone crushing hard. I mean, like really, you saw this sequence with the pogo stick like from DuckTales. Not much time left to catch the secret strawberry. the main goal is to collect every of the 1110 strawberries in the game, and this can become very tricky. You have to use your items and your skill to the fullest, like with the hang glider here to get around the enemy that I can go upstream and catch the strawberry, but I failed. And like always, I don't do emulation, so it took a while to show you some DS and 3DS footage, but I got finally modded my 3DS with HDMI out, so I can show it to you in full glory. Like I said before, you can't attack enemies, so there are also no boss fights in the game, but at the end of each season you have a nice minigame, like here where it's almost like a shooting game. You can't get cuter and bone crushing harder than Shin'en's Strawberry Shortcake game for DS. If you can stand all the pink clouds and cute rainbows, you can't get wrong here. The controls are super tight, you have so much levels, so much puzzles to solve and secrets to discover, and this game won't break your wallet. I think it's like $10–15 max on eBay, so don't wait, get it. We have one more licensed game from Shinen to cover, also for the DS, and this time it's Garfields Nightmare. Like all the other games I have shown you today, also Garfield doesn't have much of a story. But I don't think that a 2D action game needs a compelling story at all. But in Garfield's case, it's quite charming. He has just eaten a burger that was as big as he, and he tries to take a nap to get in shape again. But then the nightmare starts. Very relatable. The action is a little bit slower than in the other two games, but I think it's fitting if you playing such a big fat cat. So Garfield is more concerned on pushing crates and solving puzzles. Also, there is no world map in Garfield, just arcade style level after level. It's not a short game. I think you may take over 2 hours to complete it, but don't worry, you can save after each level. The levels are bigger than the previous games, but gladly nothing like a maze-like structure. Here and there you have a branching path where you have to hit a switch that makes a door open or a bridge go down. The moveset is very basic in this title. Garfield can't run at all. If you hold a button, he just can pull and push boxes and have a stop attack. That's all. The difficulty setting is just about right for me. It's not too easy, not too hard, because you don't have unlimited continues. You have to watch every step and every life count on the last level. Feels a little bit like an early game from Sega on the Mega Drive. From a technical viewpoint, Garfield looks great on the DS, which is not famous for its 3D graphics. Maybe this is just me, but I think this looks a lot better than a new Super Mario Bros. On this system from Nintendo. World premiere. This is actually the first Shinen platformer with boss fights. But don't get too excited, it's your typical jumping 3 times on the head of the boss and nothing like treasure-like stuff. There's no reason to denying that the enemies look very generic. Reminds me a lot of the license Capcom and Konami games from the early 90s. If it's Punisher or Simpsons, Magical Quest, Chip and Chap, you name it, most of the time you just fight some random enemies, and for the end boss you have a more famous villain. Even if you fight against the most vanilla enemies, like it's not important at all for me because I don't care much about nostalgia. In this Jack and the Beanstalk fairy tale nightmare level, you can see very clearly the Shin'en formula for Garfield and all the other games before that. In the first stage you have dark clouds and thunder. In the next one it rains. After that you have like the lens flare and the rainbow, and after that it's like a completely sunny day. And in every stage they try to implement a new element, like riding on balloon, and if you jump you change direction. Before that you have to ride on air ventilators or like the floating raft. They try to keep it fresh. Garfield is a good game, but it doesn't bring anything new to the table. If I compare it to the other Shinen games, it feels a lot like a new 8-bit Rockman or Mega Man. If you don't want that it get repetitive, just leave a little time before you play the next title. Can you still remember this warning screen? Looks like we are moving on to the Wii, and we will cover no licensed game from Shinen this time.
Hi, I'm Jet Rocket, Planetary Inspector. Here on my patrol hub, I look out for any threats to the planet. What's that?
This is Jet Rocket, Shinen's first try to make their own mascot platformer without any license to support it. Of course, this isn't a 2D platformer and all, but for things to come later, I have to cover it. Much more, we have here a 3D jump'n'run in the spirit of Mario 64 or Banjo and Kazooie. Jet Rocket was released 2009, means 10 years ago, on WiiWare as a download title for only €10 or $10. That's the reason why I couldn't show you the shiny box at the beginning of the video. Sorry for that. But for a download only title for like only $10, it's insane how good these games still look. You could just port this to Wii with a very small adjustment, and everyone would say it looks great. Rocket has a few vehicles to ride, like jet ski, hang glider, snowboard, but his main feature is like his jetpack. With the jetpack you can hover around to reach some higher platforms, but you can't use it every time. You have to recharge it on certain points. It will take around 5-6 hours to collect everything and beat every level. It's not so super big. You have like 3 atolls with 4 levels each and like 1 final boss. Jet Rocket plays a lot like a Rare game on the N64 that never happened. Also, Jet Rocket was released in a strange time frame. There was not much demand for a new N64 type 3D platform game. And a few years later, when the Kickstarter for Yooka-Laylee was announced, all the fans of the previous Rare games got completely batshit crazy. That there is finally a new 3D N64 style platformer on the horizon. It's sad that Nintendo has shut down the WiiWare servers a few years ago, so there's no legal way that you can play Jet Rocket now. What's maybe even more sad is that in the last weeks before Nintendo has shut down the service, there was like many top 10 lists of which titles you should get before Nintendo shut down the service. But on this list there was only featured like the Konami Rebirth title, Endzeit Bike, and Crystal Chronicles. Yeah, no place for Jet Rocket, and that's a shame. It's so much fun. It looks so gorgeous. Another really well made game by Shin'en.
On the brink of the abyss lies the beginning of revenge. Jet Rocket 2, The Wrath of Tekai.
Well, I would have lost this bet, but Jet Rocket is back with a brand new adventure on the 3DS. I'm glad Shin'en has given Jet a second chance to return in glorious 2D action. Jet also learned a few new tricks, so now he can execute a double jump, and beside his jetpack he has many other new gimmicks. If you collect a diver helmet, you can swim underwater, and even more fun is you get some spinning plates, which reminds me a lot of the option 2 in Rockman Mega Man 2. But not every level is 2D. New addition to Jet Rocket is isometric levels that reminds us, of course, a lot to Mario 3D Land, also on 3DS. To get even more gameplay variation, Shin'en adds some 3D style action stages like in the first Jet Rocket. This time the levels are very straightforward, no side missions between it, just get to the finish. I love it how Shin'en has named all the bosses and enemies in Jet 2. they sound exactly like a Japanese company would name it. You know, like Einhänder, Götzendiener, Schwarzschild. But the bosses don't have only crazy funny names. No, the attack patterns are very creative, very bullet hell inspired, and it's a joy to learn how to defeat them. Sadly, just as his predecessor, Jett Rocket 2 is also download only on 3DS, but the good thing is at least in December at 2019 you could still get it for little money. With the 3 different styles of gameplay, Jett Rocket never gets boring. It even features in the last stage a horizontal shooter stage. It's not as fleshed out as the other shooters like Nano Strays, but I don't complain. To beat every of the 15 stages is not so super hard, but when you clear the final level, you will get a mirror mode where you have to find new gold discs in every stage, and from here on it gets really nasty. Not much more to say for me. I hope I could show you a few interesting games that you didn't know before, and that Shin'en has a back catalog that is more than Future Racers and shmups. And also, if you own a Switch, try Shin'en's newest game, The Tourist, something completely different, gets a lot of praise. Check it out. I still hope that my first try to do this little silly thing in English was not so painful for your ears. If you want to see more videos about strange and obscure video games, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and hardcore to the core.